What does it mean? I don't know. Where'd it come from? I don't know. You know, we've said everything from it was a Viet Cong mine that blew your nuts off. You know, and that was the name for it. Like we've just said everything we can possibly think of. You know, it was a toy. At the time, we were basically a speed metal punk band, kind of, and we just thought it was funny. Goo Goo Dolls, you know, like it was funny. You know, and you know, it just gets to a point where it just kind of doesn't fit anymore. John tries to push himself a lot harder than I do at everything in life, you know. He's a really driven guy, and I've always been sort of just about the pop song, you know. You know who we are? Get out of here, you know. I don't think we have that thing going, you know, that a band that, you know, gets a deal, writes a hit, and it's like the next day they got girls pounding on their limousine windows. It's like we had, you know, cops pounding on our van door because we were sleeping on a dead end street somewhere. You know, that's where our career began. You know. That's some angels. That's a bug. I got these when important things happen to me, and that's a space age version of my chickie. You know, I think, you know, the guys in the Ramones T-shirts with the, you know, with their red suspenders and boots on, you know, from 1978 still. You know, they think our first record's a masterpiece, and everything since then's been downhill. But, you know, that's just an opinion, you know, and I don't know. Once again, you just got to be happy with the records you make, you know, and really sort of put that all aside. I'm sorry if we lost them. You know, I didn't mean to.
When I have to tell somebody the name of my band, I'm generally pretty embarrassed, because I just think it's the stupidest name I've ever heard in my life. You know, I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened. It's the bane of my existence. I never really sort of aimed for any kind of big commercial success. I mean, the whole, you know how hard it is to write a hit song? I mean, it's like, if I could understand what the formula was, I mean, I would do it. You know, I would be incredibly rich right now. I always wish that I was a better singer, you know. I always want to be a better singer. I wish I was a better guitar player, like an actual, you know, like a guy that knew how to play a little better than I do, because I don't play very well. And I mean, I do my own thing, but like, as far as technically, I mean, my guitar tech blows me away, you know. It's just like, you know, he'll be playing at sound check and I'll come in and I'm just like, stop that, you know. It's like, don't make me look bad, man, you know. My tattoo is was done by a guy named Randy Howell in Los Angeles, and it's a Picasso painting called The Dream, and I just like it because she just looks like she's enjoying herself. People don't realize that we've always had, you know, slow songs or a ballad or whatever you want to call them on every one of our records, and that's only one component of what we do as a band. You know, most of the other things that we do are pretty hard, kind of rock and roll songs. You know.
I think names of bands sort of become okay once people get to know the band. I mean, there's all sorts of silly names floating out there that you don't really think are that silly when you say them. But what do people think about the Beatles? You know, it's like, it's a pretty silly name if you really think about it. But I think Slide came out really great. I was really happy with the way that one turned out. There were a lot of little things going on in the background that we had when we were mixing that song. It was like weeding through them and doing this and that until all of a sudden it sounded great. So that one was almost, I guess, like the most pleasant surprise because it came out great. And I think we were a little bit tentative about how it was going to come out when we were in the studio. So. Most of the bands I played in were pretty straight ahead. Ironically, I actually played in the band that covered a couple Goo Goo Dolls songs. So I think it's great that I was able to just get in a situation where that is my favorite kind of stuff to play, the kind of stuff that they do. So. Nope, no tattoos. I'm lame. Well, Robby's stuff is a lot more manic. Obviously, just basically you have to push it harder. Got to kind of. I actually think of them in two different ways. And when we're doing Robby's stuff, I usually play ahead of everybody and pull everybody along with me. And with Johnny's songs, I sit back a lot more in the pocket and sort of get a groove thing going more. So.